So we are once again seeing a spike up take place in job cuts, and I want to go ahead and break down what this means for the broader markets and of course the ramifications for the overall economy, and actually talk about how severe this actually is. Now, looking at everything right now, it looks pretty bad, especially when you consider that job cuts month over month for January have pretty much doubled. In fact, this is the second highest January job cut tally since January 2009, and of course we all remember that that was back in the great financial crisis.
This is bad.
But now this is something I shared for those within the Push and Profit private group for a while now, that we were going to start seeing the strength in the robust job market start to get more weaker, and this was going to cause a slowdown in the overall economy. And if you take a look at this pie chart right over here, just highlighting all the companies that announced job cuts in January alone, one of the more notable ones is pretty much UPS, with them announcing to cut 12,000 jobs for employees over at UPS. Now, I said it before, but I'll say it again. I often like to look at companies like UPS and FedEx as kind of this alternative barometer for the health of the economy, because if people are spending less to get packages, well, that obviously means that people are not really in a good financial situation. And it makes sense considering the fact that everything is much more higher price. I mean, if you just go to your local grocery stores, you guys know how things are so much more expensive, and people love getting packages at their doorstep. And so when people stop ordering packages, well, that's not a good sign. And so what we're currently seeing is a lot of companies start to trim off their labor force as business is slowing, and they're doing this to appeal much more healthier for a lot of the shareholders. And so the idea is that I don't think this is going to be a crazy mass amount of layoffs, although I do believe that there are going to be some more dents in the labor markets and we're going to see some more job cuts. I just don't think it's going to be, a calamitous event where we're going to see unemployment skyrocket to the moon. But, pretty much I think we're going to be seeing a lot of opportunities, especially for those who are looking for good buy opportunities in the overall market, says from now until we get the next rate cuts, things are going to be a bit iffy. Now, when we take a look at the job openings, although the last report came a little bit hotter than expected, seeing job openings not contract as much as what was expected, the overall trend is that job openings are still going downwards. In addition to that, if you look at the recent jobless claims, we're seeing that Americans who applied for unemployment benefits at the end of January rose to a nearly 3-month high of 224,000, which is possibly a sign of some softening in what's been an incredibly strong labor markets. And this is exactly what I've been talking about. In fact, at the time of this recording, we're still seeing more job cuts unfold, as we recently just heard that Deutsche Bank is now cutting 3,500 jobs to go ahead and cut costs of about $2 billion, as well as Zoom cutting around 150 jobs through the end of the week. But fingers crossed that those getting laid off at Zoom aren't getting laid off on Zoom, as that would leave a very sour taste about the surface, and that would honestly be very distasteful. But the point is, we're seeing a lot of job cuts, and I don't want everyone to kind of panic and say, oh my god, things are going to the bottom, this is going to cause this crazy collapse. Look, we are seeing a weakening in the job markets, we are seeing job cuts come, but I don't necessarily believe that this is going to cause everything to capitulate. I think this is going to cause an opportunity for those looking for great deals in the overall markets. But the other question arising is everyone saying, well, it's not just an economic matter, it's also a matter of AI, and a lot of AI driven products are pretty much pushing out a lot of individuals from their jobs. And while I somewhat agree with that, I do believe that there's this kind of increase in productivity with AI. I don't necessarily subscribe to the whole idea that pretty much, people are losing their jobs because AI is taking over. In fact, there's this recent video on CNBC that I want you guys to watch.
Google, why are they laying off? What I read from the call yesterday, what you heard Ruth Porat talk about, is that this is a culture thing. They're trying to build faster, and they're finding levels within the companies that's just holding them back. So they need to build faster. They understand they're under threat. This AI thing is real. It's not going away, and they can't have people holding them back. And so what they've been doing over the past year is finding places within the organization that they can trim so that they can get to a pace where they're shipping faster. So taking managers out, and then engineers who are skilled for a previous generation of technology, they're also leaving to make room for people who are more skilled for artificial intelligence.
So making room for other human beings who are skilled in executing the AI strategies, not necessarily somehow their jobs are getting automated.
Oh, definitely. This isn't like a moment where you're starting to see AI replace engineers at Google. Absolutely not. It's more about who can build the new generation of AI technology for us. Let's make room for them, give them room to run within the organization, not be held back by managers who are so skilled in the old technology but are not able to handle the new.
You know, there was a lot of, on both sides of what Elon Musk did with the former Twitter, with X, and just like eviscerating the staff and then just running the business, with a fraction of the previous headcount. I don't think any other company looks at that and says, hey, great idea. But maybe there's a revelation that over the huge growth period, and at a time of labor scarcity and, around the pandemic, that these companies just kind of added and added and added and preserved more people than were necessary to do the work.
Yeah, I ask every tech CEO, do you take inspiration for what Elon does?
Yeah.
And they'll say on the record, no, we don't. We would never want to do that. But in the group chats, they're all like, wow, that was an amazing move. We love that. How can we?
We're glad he did the experiment.
Yeah.
We didn't have to do it.
So he'd cut 70 or 80%. So if we cut 40, it's not that bad. That being said, he cut a lot of people in sales, and they've been struggling to make the same revenue numbers. So I don't think any executive is going to cut the way that Elon cut, but they do see that you can cut a lot of people and still keep the business running.
Now, to add on what the individual in CNBC said, although we're seeing more job cuts come in, I don't necessarily believe it's going to be a massive amount. Although it is getting larger and larger, I think this is going to be ephemeral. It's not going to last very long. It's going to cause some pain in overall markets. As I often say, that the labor markets are pretty much the bloodline for the economy, because if people don't have jobs, well, guess what? They can't go shopping. They can't go ahead and buy new cars and new Teslas, or they can't go ahead and buy a house. And so this is going to be causing some pain for the markets. But again, I believe that it's going to be short term. And I think for those individuals that are looking for dip buying opportunities in the markets, well, these are going to be the opportunities, as I believe that once the rate cuts start happening, we're going to start seeing the markets and, pretty much the overall economy start to pick up again. But with that said, if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to check out this next video right over here, and I'll see you guys on that next video. Take care, guys.